I deal with billing insurance companies on a daily basis. So I'm gonna give you, and when I say an introduction, I mean an introduction. There is so much to insurance billing that I could not cover in half an hour, let alone an hour, or even a couple days, okay? It's kind of one of those things that you have to start and you learn as you go in a lot of ways. But here is an introduction to it. Anybody here like mazes? Do mazes in the newspaper or on the, well, you're in luck because that's exactly what insurance is. It's a maze. It is a maze. You have to take one route and then you have to turn and do all these little different auxiliary things. But here today specifically, I'm going to be covering what it takes to bill insurance companies using client insurance in a private practice or group practice setting. So whether there's one therapist or a group of therapists together that compile a group, that's what we're referring to today. So if I say us or we, I'm referring to us in a group setting, us as a therapist, you know, that kind of thing. So, and by all means, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I will answer them to the best of my ability. So some of the insurance companies that we come across on a regular basis, most frequently, are Blue Cross Blue Shield of California, Magellan, Federal Employee Program, United Healthcare, TRICARE, which is a military insurance program, Blue Shield of California, Health Complemento, and the list goes on. This is just, like I said, a very introductory review. So keep some of those in mind as insurance companies as we go on. High-level paneling. Yes?
I'm wondering if we could have this on Blackboard or not.
Yeah. That would be a good idea. I think I can arrange that.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, just sit back and listen, because I'll provide this template to you. And also a list of terminology that I compiled as well, that I didn't include necessarily in the slideshow, but I do have in a Word document that I'll let him post on Blackboard as well. So high-level paneling. Basically what I mean by high level is just the overview, big picture. When we talk about insurance paneling, it's getting our name as a private practice on the insurance company's list of preferred providers, okay? And the way that we do that is we reach out to the company, ask them for an application form. Typically it's a couple pages long, you fill out the basics of your company, tax information, you know, they just want to know who you are and that you're really a legal, licensed, certified company. Proof of licensure, your NPI number. Once you become a licensed therapist, you will have an NPI number, National Provider Identification. Proof of insurance. Each therapist has their own insurance for coverage. I don't know exactly what that is, but
CPH or HIPSO.
Yeah.
It's usually $1 million per occurrence, $3 million in the aggregate. That's the lowest.
Yeah.
And then you can pay more for higher.
So basically that's the therapist's own insurance for their practice, okay, to cover the therapist if anything should go wrong. And you prove that. And also you want to give them time. These things do not happen overnight. It's a lot of information, it's a lot of processing. And each company has different requirements to become paneled with them, insurance companies. Some of them don't even take new MFTs or LCSWs at this time. They've got, you know, it's so saturated in a certain area that you may not even be able to panel with them. Okay, so now, let's just say we did get accepted, we are paneled with the insurance company now, we are now in network. That means if Bobby Joe calls his insurance company and says, is there an MFT that I can come and visit in this area, blah, blah, blah. Our name will be on that list of people that the company has contracted with and will be covered. He will be covered for services in our office. It does, when clients find out that they are covered by insurance, they're more likely to begin services, okay? I don't know if you've ever had that experience going to the doctor or any kind of dentist or thing and they don't take your insurance, it's like, I'm not actually gonna go to you then. That has happened. That happens every day. It's just a fact of life, that if you're not paneled, those people won't have you as their first choice, if that makes sense. Submitting in-network claims. So once we're in network, the client's coming to see us. then we submit a claim to the insurance company saying, we saw so-and-so, this date, this time, diagnosed them with this, yada, yada, yada. And we give it to the insurance company to process, they process it, and hopefully within 30 days to 6 weeks, we receive a response. Hopefully it's payment. We like payment.
Payment's good.
Yes. Post-payment, in your, whatever accounting system you have, the payment typically comes by mail with a check. Obviously, more companies are wanting to go paperless. There's new innovative ways that are being rolled out to get those payments to you electronically. If you've ever had a direct deposit in your bank account, that would be similar to what they're trying to do with insurance companies, is do a direct deposit. But depending on how innovative and on edge your company is, you may or may not use that. The one thing with in-network clients, if your company is in network with the insurance company, you cannot bill the client for the remaining balance. Let me give an example. So, say, again, Bob comes, he's covered, we're in network with his insurance company, and the insurance company, after we submit the claim, they come back with a payment. We billed our standard fee of, let's just pick a number, $120, okay? That's how much we charge for 1 hour of therapy. So we charge the insurance company, say, okay, here's his bill, $120. Insurance company says, oh, actually, Bob's allowed amount is only $70. So they pay us $70, okay? That's generous. We've seen ranges from 60 to 100. It's rare that they'll refund the full charge as insurance companies. So if we're in network, we cannot bill the client for the remaining balance. Okay, 70 is it. We just have to accept what the insurance company is willing to pay. That's it. Any questions on that section so far? Any gaps? Yes, please.
Why you cannot you offer the client?
It's illegal?
That is for this because if we go to regular doctors, happens all the time. No? I'm always billed with whatever my
The remainder?
Yeah, always.
That's,
And that's just
share
the
cost. Is it share cost? Is that how?
I don't know for sure. Again, I'm not a legal expert on insurance. This is just the information that I know by experience, kind of thing.
Sometimes it's, the client has a copay, right? So the copay might be set at $20 or $30, and the insurance company will pay $70 so that you get $100, but you don't get the full $120.
Yeah.
Right? So you just have to eat that $20 difference because of the
So is the copay set by the insurance company then?
and it's set by the insurance company, yes. So that's why you often want to find other sources of revenue aside from insurance, right?
That's true. It's
So-
only a fraction of the cost.
So are you aware of like how much like the insurance will cover? Or is it just kind of like you go through the experience and that's that? Or like does it vary for each insurance company? Is that like a set thing for each client? Like
That's a great question. And what it really comes down to is there are fixed portions and there are variable portions. Ours are, let's say we charge the $120, that's a fixed rate. We charge all of our clients $120 for an hour. Now, the insurance company, big, umbrella, they may say, okay, we typically do this, but then each individual member who subscribes to that insurance policy has their own plan.
depending on their policy.
Exactly, that's the variable.
Yeah.
And so one person could cover, their plan could cover $60, another person $70, another person $30. And everything, as far as individual insurance plans go, so much variable. I've never, in fact, I haven't come across a single two that are alike. It varies very, very much so.
So when you're a provider, you
basically get to shop it out in terms of like, you know, you go to Blue Shield or whatever,
Mhm.
and they tell you we will pay, you know, X number of dollars per session, and then you get to make, like, make your determination whether you wanna contract with them or not
Exactly,
at that
and
point.
if you wanna panel with them or not. It's definitely a numbers game by that time, and you're trying to, you know, balance the books and say, okay, is this gonna be worth it? You also need to consider like how long it takes to get those payments, because if it's gonna take forever, then your cash flow is gonna suffer for that, those kinds of things.
And what kind of paperwork is required, the amount of time to fill
Mhm.
out the paperwork?
If it's 5 pages for each client and you have to mail that in, snail mail, So, yeah, you definitely have to weigh the options, pros, cons, how much it's gonna cost, return on investment kind of thing. Any other questions on this particular section? Yes?
So does it, typically, does it take like 30 days to 6 weeks to get like
The response and the
Yeah.
payment, yes,
usually?
that is typical. After 6 weeks, you wanna be knocking on that insurance door and saying, hey, what's the problem? What's the holdup? Have you lost our claim? Is there a problem with the claim? Things like that. So definitely wanna keep tabs and good records to know who to follow up with and when, for sure. All right. Okay, high level non-paneled overview. So very similar but different. So if you're not gonna panel with them, no action required, okay? Just not, you don't have to sign anything, you don't have to sign up or anything like that. But we're now out of network with those insurance companies. And so when someone, say Bob again, goes online and says, okay, I need to see an MFT in my area, it'll give him a list of all those therapists who are paneled with that insurance company. We're not gonna be on that list, okay? So if he calls us and says, hello, I'd like to see a therapist, do you guys take such and such insurance? And we would have to say, no, we are out of network with this insurance company, but you may have out of network benefits. Okay, so certain plans, again, we're going back to the plans that vary. There may be out of network coverage that we don't know about. A option would be to have Bob call his insurance company and say, hey, do I have out of network coverage for mental health outpatient office visits? Yes or no? And then, based on that, he may choose to continue and actually become a client, or he may choose to go with someone who is in network with his company, with his insurance company. So if we're not in network, some people aren't able to afford it. Again, that's just life. Unfortunately, there are other ways around it, but it's up to the client to figure that out. So, say Bob decides to come, he called his insurance company and he does have out-of-network benefits. Comes in, has the service, we bill his insurance company, and we get, when I say bill, it's equivalent to submitting claims, okay? Submit claims preferably by EDI, fax, or mail, may still be necessary, same 30 days to 6 weeks, okay? And then when we receive the out-of-network payment, it's typically less than the payment that we would have received had we been in network, typically. Just because, you know, we're not on their system or whatever. I don't know all the details, but then you put the out-of-network payment in your bank, log it in your accounting system, whatever it is, and that is wrong. You can bill the client for the remaining balance for out-of-network coverage. I just duplicated the slide and changed it. I forgot to change that one, okay? That's the secret.
So the benefit there is that you can bill for the remainder.
Yes, see, again, that's the weighing the balances, weighing the options, because in this case, if you're out of network, you can give that client the bill, the remainder. Say for out-of-network coverage, the insurance company gives us back $33.50. They're random numbers like that all the time, okay? So you would then bill for the remainder to add up to that 120. That's the client's responsibility now, okay? So that's one of the pros of out-of-network coverage, and that may be what you guys were referring to earlier when you do get a bill, a statement for the remaining, it may be out-of-network, so. All right, now this is the process. This is like, so once you're paneled, You kind of have, that established, that foundation established. And now, with this process, we're gonna go from client coming in through in the door, filling out their intake paperwork, giving you their insurance card, paying the initial fee, okay? So that's where it's patient registration. Come in, fill out their paperwork, you have their date of birth, name, insurance information in their file. You just created a file for them, they're new. They're in their session, and as an office member, office staff member, I would then go and call their insurance company to see, okay, what kind of coverage do they have? We have about a one-page sheet of paper, a form that we fill out, that we check off all these things to make sure that we're getting the full coverage information from the insurance company. Typically, it takes from anywhere to 20 to 30 minutes to check insurance. Just because you're having to wait on hold, or you're having to navigate to the right department, or whatever it may be. You want to check for deductibles, how much they've met of their deductible. How much is their copay, if they have one? Are they even covered? Is there any pre-authorization needed? Is there, are certain codes covered? Can they have 2 sessions in one day? You know, you can basically ask any question that you want and get it from the insurance company. Better sooner rather than later. Know what coverage they have ahead of time, as best as you can. Okay, next, this number 3, CPT and ICD-10 codes. CPT, let me pull up here. Where is that? All right, so the CPT code, CPT stands for Current Procedural Terminology. That is basically a 5-digit code that is used to describe mental health services of healthcare providers. There are approximately 7,800 CPT codes, but thankfully, as mental health practices, we only use about 5 of them. I'm gonna swing this over. Let's see if I can see that. Okay, yeah, this is my terminology list. So let's take a look at, so these are all A through E are CPT codes, which are necessary for a form that you're gonna have to fill out when submitting claims. That's called